But Sitchin, I think one of the mistakes Sitchin made that I used to believe in was this whole Nibiru planet, the planet X, the 10th planet or 12th planet, depending if you want to count the sun and the moon, like the Sumerians did. This he calls it Nibiru, or I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, so I pronounce it Nibiru. I read it, I never hear it. Like I've never watched Ancient Aliens. I've never been able to sit through an entire episode. I find it to be highly sensationalized and not very scholarly at all. But I'm well versed with Sitchin. I've read all but one of his Earth Chronicles series, so I didn't read the last one, End of Days, yet. But I think the big mistake that he made was this idea of this planet X that has this 3,600 year orbit, this shar. That period is known in Sumerian as a shar. First, for starters, the first indication that something's amiss here with that number is gee, that's a really round number for this cometary orbit planet. There's no planets that have such neat, precise numbers like that. Mercury's like 88 days. That's an odd number. Venus is 200 and I want to say 26, but I'm messing that up, I think. We're 365. Mars is like 687, I want to say. 687 days Mars orbit. Jupiter is 12 years. It's actually 11.86 years, but it's pretty close to 12. Saturn, 29 and a half years. Uranus is, the orbit is 84 years. And Neptune, the orbit is 165 years. So none of those are numbers that you're like, oh wow, that's so nice and neat. Like they're all very random numbers. Like those orbits are nothing so neat. So to have like this, and then there's a planet beyond that that's 3,600 years exactly, like that just seems so odd. So right off the bat, it's already anomalous. Like why would that be like that? The second thing that's anomalous is well, gee, you see with the Sumerians and you see with the Hindus, these ancient civilizations over time, myths, numerical amounts, mathematical amounts, and myths get amplified by factors of 10. You see that all the time. One of these really common numbers in mythology is basically it's some multiple of 4,320. You see like 4,320,000. You see that number. You see other variations of it. Just different factors of 10, all the way down to 4,320. Well, only one of those numbers is significant, in the sense that there's an intrinsic meaning behind that number. Only one. Like all the various variations of that, only one has any intrinsic significance, and that's the lowest number. 4,320 is the period of two zodiacal cycles. So it's that's probably where that number started. Like, oh, here's a really large number, 4,320, and then they're like, oh no, like some myth has to, make it even grander, and so they add a 10, they add a 0 to it and make it a factor of 10 higher. And then somebody else does that, and then somebody else does that, and pretty soon you get like, oh, the cycles of time that are 4,320,000 years long, and it's a kalpa, and it's these huge numbers, day of Brahma kind of thing. Those numbers started out much, 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 much smaller. So what's interesting about the number 3,600 is, well, take it down a factor of 10, 360. What's that number? That's one way to do a calendar, a 360-day calendar. You divide the sky into, you divide the circle into 360 degrees. That's one. You have to do it like the Egyptians did, a 5-day inner calculation every year or every so many years, depending on how you want to do it. So right there, there's probably where that number could have much more easily come from. Like 360 sounds a lot more sensible.